Okay, I just want to call it right now. Next year, the Lego Movie is going to be nominated for Best Animated Feature. If it's not, I'm gonna get mad. All right, here we are, part 11 of my Oscar coverage. We're at the halfway point, and this time the awards are getting bigger and bigger. This time we're talking about Best Animated Feature. Now, with this category, I don't want to just look at the animation itself. I mean, this category is called Best Animated Feature, not Best Animation. So I'm going to be taking these movies as a whole. This kind of puts hand-drawn animation CGI at level footing. So just because a movie here looks objectively nicer than the rest doesn't mean it's going to win, because it still has to service the story. I'm excited. So here are the nominees for Best Animated Feature. The Croods, Kirk D'Amico, Chris Sanders, and Christine Belson. Despicable Me 2, Pierre Coffin, Chris Renaud, and Chris Meledandri. Ernest and Celestine, Benjamin Renner and Didier Brunner. Frozen, Chris Buck, Jennifer Lee, and Peter Del Vecchio. And The Wind Rises, Hayao Miyazaki and Toshiya Suzuki. Now, before I continue, I regret to inform you that I have not been able to see The Wind Rises, and I really, really, really wanted to see it. I heard it just came out in the States, but I live in the Philippines, so we're probably never gonna get it, so I'm sorry. As a whole, this is a pretty meh list. I mean, I would have liked to see more foreign films, and I would have wanted to see Monsters University up here. And two of these four movies that I can talk about, in my opinion, don't really deserve a nomination. Anyway, this is what we have, and at fourth place, I'm gonna put The Croods. Now, to be fair, I'm not a huge fan of DreamWorks movies usually, but I thought the animation of The Croods was very surprisingly good. I mean, watching the trailers, I didn't expect much, but then watching the movie, when they finally break out of the cave and they enter like Pandora, it looks really, really great. Like, there were so many breathtaking moments, and I was so surprised by that. Voice acting also is very committed. Like, these characters aren't very glamorous at all. Emma Stone playing this really rugged cave woman, and Nicolas Cage, man, is the dad. That's great. And as a whole, The Cruise really does kind of have an imaginative plot. It's a very interesting, direction to the whole caveman idea. It's cool to see them like discovering the world as they enter it. But on the downside, the characters here are really, really weak in my opinion. Like, I didn't really bother about any of them except for Nicolas Cage. And the plot as a whole isn't very focused at all, I think. Like, the point of view kept shifting, but apparently Emma Stone's character was the main character. And the movie just kind of pushes you into the plot. This doesn't really feel like much of a lead up. It just kind of happens. So, I still do think The Cruise is just a very okay movie. Like, it's nice to look at, but it's just, it's not enough. So it's fourth place for me. Now, third place is Despicable Me 2. Now, Despicable Me 2 is obviously nowhere near as good as Despicable Me 1 was. Try saying that fast. Despicable Me. That's so hard to say. But as a sequel, the animation really did take a step up. There's certain things here that they do with Minions that is really, really cool and interesting to see. Like, a wide shot of just all these minions and they're all moving, they're all individual and stuff. And that's really, really fun. The voice acting is still great. Now you have Kristen Wiig here, who is always game for anything. Steve Carell still does a really, really great job as Gru, because it does not sound like Steve Carell at all. And whoever voices the minions, well, he's having just as much fun as ever, even if it's kind of annoying, but, not as bad, I think, as the first one, or I can't even remember. And I actually did like the expansion of this world, because one of my favorite things about the first Despicable Me was the fact that, there were supervillains everywhere. And here in Despicable Me 2, we get to meet more of those supervillains, and they're super entertaining to watch, and I just wish there were more of them. Unfortunately, one big thing that, brings the Despicable Me 2 down is the fact that the little kids, the three little girls, they don't have much of a part anymore. Thus, a lot of the charm of this movie is robbed, because I just wanted to see more of these kids, and there wasn't enough of them. Instead, the movie replaces the kids with this romance between Gru and Kristen Wiig's character, and it wasn't that convincing, really. It just happens. I didn't really buy it, so this does get a place higher than The Croods, because I thought it really was more focused and was definitely a bit more entertaining. Alright, so those last two I really didn't think. Like, I was wondering, why are they nominated for Oscars? But these next two, I think, given the animated movies we got last year, I think they do deserve it. Number two, I'm gonna put Frozen. Now, I just released a review for Frozen, so I won't really delve too deep into this, but again, the animation here is super elegant. Like, it looks super nice, everything's super detailed, the snow crumbles and stuff, I love that. And among the five nominees this year, this is the only one that's a straight up musical, and the music here is great. It's already kind of classic in its own way. And again, the subversion of the Disney princess formula that Frozen goes for is very, very fresh. It makes this movie very unexpected, like at least the first time you watch it, and it really is very memorable for that. But like I said in my review for Frozen, like the script isn't the best. You know, a lot of dialogue is kind of awkward. Some of the characters are like completely not fleshed out. Like I don't really bother to care about them really, and the pacing is kind of off. It's still a great movie though. It's just little problems do bring it down. And when it comes to the Oscars, you have to be the best of the best. And in my opinion, the best of the best when it comes to these animated features this year, Ernest and Celestine. Now, you guys probably have never seen this, and I wouldn't blame you. It's this very obscure, hand-drawn kids movie from France, but I just recently watched it, and it's amazing. I can't describe it. It's so great. First of all, the animation here is fantastic. Like in my opinion, really really good hand-drawn animation will always be better than really good CGI. And I just like how organic hand-drawn animation feels, and the way things move in hand-drawn animation, I think is just, I don't know, it's just nice to look at. What this movie did for me is it really brought me back to the days when I would watch like old VHS tapes of like Winnie the Pooh and stuff. Like I don't know, it's just so simple and it's so charming, and the world it kind of builds, like this world of mice and bears, it was so interesting because they did put in little things about how systems work in these two worlds. It really did feel like a story straight out of a kid's book. In terms of animation also, there's just lots of painted backgrounds, characters are drawn with like broken lines and stuff, and it's so great to look at. The voice acting is great also. Obviously try to catch this in its original French dubbing. Like I know they're coming out with English dubbing, but like try to look for the French, because these voice actors who did the French voices, they're just so committed also to the roles. The guy who voices Ernest sounds like he has a lot of fun making bear sounds, and the girl who plays Celestine, I have no idea what she looks like, but she is so charming and she's so cute. Like whoever she is, I just want to meet her and just hug her to death. One thing I can say about all these nominees is that they all, all their voice actors have good chemistry with each other. And when I think about it, that's a really tough thing to do, to have chemistry through just your voice. And props to everyone, especially Ernest and Celestine. The chemistry between those two characters was great. Like it's so heartwarming. The most surprising thing for me about Ernest and Celestine were its themes. Like it did have some pretty deep themes in there while staying completely a kid's story. And I think if adults watch this, they will be interested in the fact that, it basically is about, I wouldn't say racism, but, marginalization of certain people just because they're of a different, race or species or something. And, it did add a very, very profound layer by the ending of the movie, I think, when certain things happen. And it just, I don't know, it really, really impressed me. So yeah, please try and check out Ernest and Celestine if you can find a way to watch it. But, that's just my number one. In terms of who I think will win, this is definitely going to Frozen. I don't think enough people saw Ernest and Celestine. In terms of the Croods and Despicable Me 2, those really didn't perform as well as Frozen did. The Wind Rises could be number one here for all I know, but I didn't get to see it, so I can't talk about it. But again, Frozen is the only movie among these five that has two nominations at the Oscars, and it has built up so much steam, huge fan base, and it's definitely gonna rake in the prize. Alright guys, so what do you think about this year's roster of Best Animated Features? What do you guys think should win? What do you guys think will win? Whether you agree with my opinions or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.